story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Thank you for joining us on Core TV News at 7. I am Frank Omalape. The deep-seated animosity between the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority and the newly established Federal Government Traffic Agency, otherwise called the Federal Task Force, has taken a turn for the worse. The Training and Recruitment Center of the Federal Task Force was sacked by the Lagos State Task Force on the Environment over what it claimed was a response to the brutality of one of its officials. Oluwase Adegoke has details of the report presented from our studios.
Hell was let loose as pandemonium became the order of the day on the toll-gate end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and its neighboring environs. And for these ones, a large number of whom are job seekers, the day will go down as one such bad experience. Numb, however, is the reactions as they could not mutter a word. Obviously, the expression on their faces say it all. The Lagos Task Force chairman, Bayo Sulaiman, attributed the chaotic situation to the action of a tout.
That the tout will challenge our authority and the authority of the police force. We arrested vehicles on the RC lane. They have violated the law. As we were coming, the vehicle, apparently one of them, entered this yard. And the gang up, hitting the policemen and the paramilitary that they will not go with the vehicle. And they were held hostage here. We won't allow that to happen. It never happened. And that was the last straw that broke the camel's back. We've been watching them thinking that they will maintain their lane, they will not disobey the law, and they will not misbehave. Since they have done that, we cannot carry the word to them. And we now realize, how can they tout, for goodness sake?
But his submission was rubbished by the Director of Publicity of the Federal Task Force, Olawale Oyebo, who described the developments as political and propaganda.
It's the state government, the APC government to say per se, attacking the federal institution. It's propaganda. How can graduate, intellectual, intelligent people attack with cutlasses and ammunitions? Where did they get it? We've been on the federal road for several years, even when they were calling us hoodlums. Can the hoodlums remain on the federal road? The state SS are there, the commissioners are there, the ministers are there. From the top, even from the federal, they are all passing on a daily basis. And they never say, what are we doing there? Because it was being given an approval by the federal government. So the issue of attacking or not attacking, it's pure propaganda. They actually want to politicalize it. And if that's what they want, I think they should be ready to face the wrath of the federal government.
The newly recruited traffic agents later regrouped on the outskirts of Lagos, where they expressed their feelings.
And most of us here are graduates. The federal government is giving us work, and the Lagos state government is trying to take away the job from us.
Names that our parents didn't call us. We were being called touts, hoodlums, etc., etc. Militants. We held to our position because we are elites.
I was in my office busy doing something for my boss. Surprisingly, we saw some men climbing the fence, throwing tear gas with policemen. A lot of things. Even me, my uniform, they tore it. Unfortunately for me to run away, I hit my leg with iron.
The Federal Emergency Road Management Authority, FEMA, who they claim to be associated with, had made a disclaimer, even published in the newspaper, and produced a letter signed by the National Coordinator of FEMA, Engineer Fagbamila, signed it. The Federal Controller of Works, the former Federal Controller for Works Lagos, also disowned them. And we're also aware that the Federal Minister of Works had also disowned them. So we are yet to ascertain for facts who they represent, except that they have claimed to be representing or to be working under the instruction of the presidency. So we await clarification from the president. But we know also for a fact that they couldn't be, because there is no law establishing them. If it is about traffic management, they've also claimed to be working for SURP. So they've made so many claims. So we don't believe they are federal tax force. We just believe they are individuals who have been clothed to cause terror, to unleash terror on the peace-loving people of Lagos, to create chaos on our roadway, to inflict more injury to the people of Lagos as they go about their duties peacefully.
Lagosians were taken aback last Tuesday when they woke up to see men in black and grey uniform controlling traffic on federal designated roads in the state.
Away from Lagos to Osun, ahead of the August elections in the state, Rauf Aregbesola flagged off his political campaign in the ancient city of Ile-Ife, Osun State. Tamini Mispedebote was there and filed in this report.
The flag-off attracted members of the All Progressive Congress from all the local government areas of the state to Ile-Ife. Some members at the event say there is a lot of significance to the choice of the venue and the date of the campaign flag-off.
By the source of the Yorubas, so we believe that anything they want to do must come to Ile-Ife to get the blessing of all neighbors, and to let the people of Ile-Ife know that this is the source of Yoruba. So we believe that once we start here, it will be a success story for the campaign period, and we are going to win the election by the grace of God. So we believe that we should be able to come to Ile-Ife, receive the blessing of God, see the people of Ife, tell them this is what we want to do, and let the, we call Odisha in Yoruba land to bless our campaign, and the Lord to call himself to crown it for us, so that we have the success story in the campaign period.
A very significant city in the history of the Yorubas as a race, and we believe that this is the place where we should start our campaign.
Our tradition, it has become a pattern, a tradition for us to start in Ile-Ife and start on a Tuesday. You will recall that in 2007 we did the same thing. We started on a Tuesday that is known in Yoruba as Ojo Isegun, a day of victory, because we are embarking on a victorious journey, because we know it will culminate in the victory of Rauf Aregbesola in the forthcoming gubernatorial election.
Dignitaries and supporters from within and outside the state supported the candidature of Aregbesola, saying the works of the governor will speak for him.
We are in Ife because we know that Ife is one of the strongest political base of the Aregbesola administration. Because of the performances of Rauf Aregbesola, you can look at it from every of the developmental sectors. Before Aregbesola came to the office, we knew what Osun was like. We knew what the schools were like. We knew what the ministries were like. We knew what the staff of the agencies or the ministries were like. Today, the story is different.
Rauf Aregbesola recognized the women, and we have let me say the 40% of the mandate that they should give to the women. That is why that we have many roles. Even we women in Osun State like Aregbesola because he recognized the women.
The Independent National Electoral Commission at the Federal High Court in Abuja opposed the hearing of a fresh suit seeking the nullification of the registration of the All Progressives Congress as a political party. INEC urged Justice Gabriel Kolawole not to entertain the suit because the plaintiff had opted to withdraw its earlier application, which was the one the court scheduled for hearing on Tuesday. The earlier application was filed by OM Ike Gwonu and 29 others. The plaintiffs are acting on behalf of the African People's Congress, a group which is contesting the APC acronym with the All Progressive Congress. The earlier application dated July 8, 2013 was filed before the All Progressives Congress was registered by INEC. The plaintiffs filed a fresh application dated May 15, 2014 after INEC had registered their rival All Progressives Congress. Explaining the reason behind the withdrawal of the earlier application, the plaintiff's lawyer Ikoro says the application, which sought to restrain INEC from registering APC as a party, had been overtaken by events. According to Ikoro, proceeding to hear the earlier application will amount to an academic exercise, since the action it was seeking to restrain had taken place. Expressing disappointment in INEC for going ahead with registering the All Progressives Congress despite being aware of a pending suit challenging the action, the Plaintiffs' Counsel said the Commission had violated Section 66A of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Following the judge's ruling striking out the application, Ikoro had urged the court to order the hearing of the fresh application, but the request was opposed by INEC's counsel Ibrahim Bawa. Justice Kolawole then adjourned the case till July 3 for hearing of the plaintiff's fresh application. The plaintiffs are, through their fresh application, praying the court to declare as illegal the registration of All Progressives Congress as a political party by INEC. The last may not have been heard over the violence that greeted the last Saturday rally of the Labour Party in Ikere. The most recent condemnation was from the Ekiti State Governor, when he visited Femi Ayodele, an APC member who sustained gunshot wound in the Saturday crisis. Prime Minister says much of the violence in Ikere are perpetrated by imported thugs.
Ekiti has been very peaceful in the last 3.5 years. There's no reason why a month to election we should be having this bit of violence, unless it is externally sponsored, and in a number of cases we have seen a correlation between the activities of elements that have come from outside the state with some of their collaborators internally that are responsible for this.
Owing to earlier accusation of police for complicity over the Ikere violence, Femi appealed to politicians to eschew violence and for the police to be fair to all parties.
Appeal to the law enforcement agencies to do their job, and to the political parties to restrain their members from indulging in acts of violence and any breach of peace in Ekiti.
No fewer than 14 soldiers and 11 policemen have been killed in Buniyadi in Gojuba local government area of Yobe State by suspected Boko Haram members who laid siege on the town for over 2 hours. The insurgents, will Core TV News learned, overpowered security operatives also set military formations in the town ablaze. Residents of the town equally told journalists on the telephone on Tuesday that the insurgents also set on fire the area court and district heard resident and office and few residential quarters. Some security personnel told journalists on the telephone that the corpses of soldiers and the policemen were conveyed to Damaturu Specialist Hospital mortuary. In a related issue, Boko Haram also attacked Chinene village of Chikide, Jogede, Kangam ward of Gozo local government area of Borno State, killing 9 persons and setting ablaze churches and residential houses. The insurgents were said to have hosted their flags and some structures in Ashigashia ward of Goza local government depicting their conquest. According to sources in the area, apart from the 9 persons killed, several others were left with injuries sustained as a result of the sporadic shootings by members of the set. Many have been forced to take refuge in bushes and surrounding hills. A local government official, Nglamuda Ibrahim, who spoke to journalists in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, says many of his extended families and friends displaced in the latest attack have been calling for assistance. He said the people are living in perpetual fear, and some of them who had taken refuge on the hills claimed that there may be another attack, having seen some of the insurgents in the area. A member of Boko Haram set already convicted of terrorism charges, Kabiru Umaru, also known as Kabiru Sakutu, has appealed to President Goodluck Jonathan for pardon. The convict is appealing against the judgment of a federal high court, Abuja, which sentenced him to life imprisonment on December 20, 2013. He, however, told the president through a letter written on his behalf by his lawyer, Sharif Oko, that he was innocent of the offenses he was convicted of. Umaro was jailed for being part of the mastermind of the 2011 Christmas Day bombing of St. Theresa's Catholic Church, Magdala, Niger State. In his letter, Oko faulted the process leading to his client's conviction and assured that Umaro had offered to help government to solve the Boko Haram crisis in the country. He insisted that Umaro was innocent of the charges he was convicted of. The Chairman Senate Committee on Education, Uche Chukwumereje, has condemned a statement credited to Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade that the military had discovered the camps where the abducted Chibok girls were being held. Chukwumereje insisted that the information should have remained a strictly security secret, stated this in an interview with journalists in Abuja. He specifically condemned the assertion by Bade that the military had located the camps where the abducted girls were being held, stressing that it was puzzling for the Chief of Defense Staff to disclose what the military considered as a secret. Meanwhile, the security practitioners of Nigeria say they are concerned about the security challenges facing the nation. The group's president, Davidson Akimian, called on the government to unite in unity and true federalism so as to overcome the nation's security problems.
Our deep concern over the current worrisome security challenges bedeviling the nation. We, however, use this platform to call on government at all levels, federal, state, and local level, to jettison politics and to come together in the spirit of true nationalism to prosecute the war against crime and terror in our land.
Akimian says that the military is currently working at optimum capacity to ensure the rescue of about 200 schoolgirls. He was responding to a question on the capacity of the Nigerian Army to handle the current security challenges.
Whilst you want to indict the military for not having been able to produce these girls in the last 45 days or so, but you also want to examine the circumstances under which these girls were picked up. I believe that having gone through the first phase, which is surveillance, and identified location where these girls are, the military is now trying to see how it can rescue the girls without casualties.
The Lagos state government will continue to make the state unattractive for criminals to operate. Governor Fashola reiterated this while receiving a check of 50 million naira donation for Security Trust Fund from Zenith Bank, Nigeria. Fashola says the government is ready to outrun criminals in the state.
Criminals are businessmen. They are just engaged in an illegal business. But they are our competitors because their success undermines our work and our success puts them out of business. So we will outspend them, we will outrun them, and we will outcompete them. That is the mission that we have set ourselves.
Lagos State Governor Babátúndé Fashola says achieving an effective power supply in Nigeria should not be a mystery. Fashola made a statement at the 2014 Power Keys Awards ceremony. Abiola Oluwale's report is presented from our studios.
Addressing students drawn from different schools in the state, Governor Fashola says the Power Kids Club initiative is aimed at raising awareness on the effective usage of power in the state. He appealed to Nigerians to see the conservation of power as a way of life.
If we can do it with our telephones, we can do it with anything. I know that the units of credit on our telephones are very important to us. And in the process of conservation of units, we have developed a language that does not exist in any other part of the world where they use cell phones. And that language is flash. But what is essential about flashing is that people are conserving their credit units. And I hope that we will take that mentality of conservation into power, into water, and into many other materials.
As Nigeria continues to seek ways of achieving effective power supply, the Lagos State government is using this forum to explore ways of educating the younger generation on the essence of conserving power.
The Kids Club program is an initiative working with the CORE project, working with the principals of school, Ministry of Education, to catch them young, the kids we have today, to teach them the elements of electricity, to tell them about energy conservation, to tell them that you can have efficient energy, to let them know that when you know what it takes to do power, you know why you have to conserve.
The participating students developed inventions on how to conserve energy. Winners were eventually presented with cash.
The National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control has advised state governments to equip general hospitals with technologies to help in detecting counterfeit drugs. Director of Special Duties of the agency, Ibrahim Jimoh, says that there is need to ascertain the quality of drugs administered to patients. He says that TrustScan equipment is one of the technologies that states could buy and use in ascertaining the quality of drugs, describing it as a handheld device used for the purpose. He added that the agency is ready to enlighten personnel assigned by state government to handle the technology and how to use it. Jimoh says the responsibility of fighting fake drugs did not rest on the shoulder of NAFDAC alone, but also with state governments, which should also safeguard the health of their citizens. We're watching Core TV News at 7. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with foreign stories. Stay with us.
I don't think the election was actually... What are the people saying?
5 local government out of the 13 local government is more than many states in the north.
The economy is booming. Where is the economy booming?
Bomb blast in Abuja. Don't you have security?
Why are we fighting?
Presidency should not just sit in Abuja or in Asokoro or wherever he lives.
Sellers are sponsoring the Boko Haram. They know them.
Men cannot be there and be there at the same time.
The life of the citizens, community need to be protected.
It can't work out.
Bring the message of peace.
Let there be proper devolution of power from the center. The center is too powerful.
The People, only on Core TV News.
Glad to have you back on Core TV News at 7. For more information on our news and other programs, visit us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Core TV News. You can also follow us on Twitter at Core TV News NG. Also on YouTube, www.youtube.com/Core TV News. Outside Nigeria now, Russia has called for an immediate end to violence in eastern Ukraine after 40 people were killed in fighting between government forces and pro-Moscow rebels. Maintaining Moscow's tough tone after the election of Ukraine's new president, Vladimir Putin accused Kiev of carrying out punitive operations in eastern regions. Putin underlined the need for an immediate end to the punitive operation in southeastern regions and the establishment of peaceful dialogue between Kiev and regional representatives. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov called for an end to the fighting, accusing Kiev of using the military against civilians. As the world celebrates Children's Day, the plight of children all over the world has been put in focus, looking at the legacies the future generation will be left with. Correspondent Martin Dixon takes a look at child soldiers who fought in the Liberian Civil War, now struggling to live a meaningful life. His report is presented from our studios.
Today, he helps out at a taxi rank. But during Liberia's brutal civil war, Abdul Sassi would roam these streets with an AK-47, a member of Charles Taylor's notorious Demon Forces militia, which tortured, killed and raped its way through the country. Abdul says he was abducted on his way to school age 15 and forced to fight. Now 33, he works to feed a drug habit and sleeps rough.
So I start fighting with the people. Yeah. So the people now, that time war finished, they disarm take everything for us. So I'm happy, so I start loading car. If I don't get to do nothing, I have to go steal from somebody. So I start loading car, small, get my daily bread. And then I sleep on the south.
It's though as many as 38,000 children were forced to fight in the back-to-back civil wars from 1989 and 2003 that killed 250,000 people. An entire generation missed out on an education. and a disarmament and rehabilitation program set up after the conflict failed to prevent thousands from falling through the net.
They have to be solved because these people constitute, I'm talking about almost 75% of the youth of Liberia. Those are people, those that are not educated, they are more than those that are educated. So we can't move forward until these people's situation will be handled. And it's also difficult too because it will take a long time. And they are overgrown. And there are people that used to just quick money. That's the problem. They want quick money.
Augustine was 15 when anti-terror guerrillas attacked his hometown of Robertsport. Forced to fight, he admits to killing people and took part in the 2003 siege of Monrovia, which resulted in the death of some 1,000 civilians in heavy shelling. He returned to Robertsport to fish, but the memory of the war and the stigma of being labeled a fighter are hard to eradicate.
You know, some people see you fighting and look at your face, you know, after the war and begin to point at you. So these men were fighting, these men were fighting, and begin to get powerful.
A study by two charities in 2009 found that post-traumatic stress and depression were a commonplace among Liberia's former child soldiers. More than a decade after the end of fighting, it's a legacy that will linger for years to come.
Well, and that's a wrap on Core TV News at 7. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Join us at 9:45 p.m. for our primetime news. Bye for now.